If you see this kind of weeping angel statue, you need to be careful because it's not a statue at all, but a terrifying creature that can move. If you're not careful, it will teleport right in front of you and take your life. No one knows where this thing came from or how it appeared in this ancient castle, until one day, two girls accidentally entered the castle to explore, completely unaware that danger was approaching. When they saw the angel statue in the yard, they joked about the owner's unique taste, but in just the blink of an eye, Xiaomei felt the statue seemed to have moved a few steps closer and quickly told her friend, who thought she was imagining things. Just as Xiaomei wanted to take a closer look, the castle's doorbell suddenly rang, startling the two girls. How could anyone come to this godforsaken place? Xiaomei had no choice but to open the door to see what was going on, but her timid friend didn't dare to go with her and could only hide by the door to secretly observe. Little did they know, this separation would be their final farewell. The visitor was a polite gentleman, but strangely he directly asked for Xiaomei by name, saying he was entrusted to deliver a letter. But Xiaomei's visit to the castle was a spontaneous decision, so how could anyone know she was there? While Xiaomei was talking with the man, her friend suddenly heard a noise behind her. She quickly went to check, only to find a motionless angel statue. Seeing this, the friend felt reassured and left. Unexpectedly, as soon as she turned around, the angel statue lowered its hands and then moved to the window. But the friend remained unaware, still focused on listening to Xiaomei and the man talking. Unbeknownst to her, the angel had already arrived behind her door, and in the next second, her friend was transported to some unfamiliar place. Confused, she quickly asked a young man for directions, only to be horrified to discover that she had traveled back 80 years. Back at the castle, Xiaomei also encountered something incredibly strange. The name of the letter's sender was exactly the same as her friend's. She immediately thought it was a prank, but the man said seriously that the letter was from his deceased grandmother, and she asked Xiaomei to accept the letter, as it was the only request she made before passing. Seeing how earnest he was, Xiaomei had no choice but to open the letter, and inside was an old photo of her best friend, along with a family photo. Xiaomei was shocked. Her best friend was just with her a moment ago. How could she have passed away in the blink of an eye? But when Xiaomei rushed upstairs to search, she found that her friend was already nowhere to be seen, replaced by 3 angel statues that weren't there before, one of which was holding a key. Just as Xiaomei crouched down to check, the statue behind her suddenly lowered its hands. But when she took the key and turned around, the angel resumed its face-covering pose. However, as she examined the key, danger approached from behind once more. Fortunately, at this moment, the man downstairs left, attracting Xiaomei to follow him, narrowly escaping danger. But when she got downstairs, she found that her friend's grandson had disappeared without a trace, leaving only the letter behind. In a nearby cafe, Xiaomei read the letter with tears. It turned out that just now, her friend had traveled back to the year 1920 and started a family with the first person she met. But she comforted Xiaomei not to be sad, because she lived a happy and fulfilling life, with the only regret being not able to say goodbye to Xiaomei. To confirm this, Xiaomei found her friend's burial site and discovered that she indeed died 20 years ago. She could only leave the cemetery in melancholy, completely unaware that the weeping angel had followed her out. To say goodbye to her best friend's younger brother, Xiaomei found the audio store where he worked, but upon seeing the carefree Xiaocheng, she couldn't bring herself to tell the truth and instead said that her friend had been sent out of town.
他爱你.
No.
No.
It is a trick.
No, she loves you.
Just as Xiaocheng looked confused, the doctor on TV suddenly caught Xiaomei's attention simply because he repeatedly mentioned things like, "Don't blink." Xiaocheng also found it strange, saying that this man appeared at the end of all 17 discs, and even the distributor was unaware of these Easter eggs. Because she couldn't understand what the doctor was saying, Xiaomei casually asked a question, not expecting the next sentence to be an answer to her question. This was so eerie that it scared Xiaomei into immediately turning off the television and rushing out into the pouring rain to report it to the police, hoping for their help. While waiting, she suddenly noticed that the 2 angels outside the window looked very familiar, but just as she tried to see them clearly, the statues vanished without a trace, making Xiaomei think she was hallucinating. Soon, the detective impatiently came out. He didn't want to take on this tricky case, but upon seeing Xiaomei's fresh and bright appearance, he immediately perked up, quickly set aside his work, and took Xiaomei to the underground warehouse. Seeing various unclaimed cars, Xiaomei then realized that similar disappearance cases had already occurred many times at the castle. A phone booth in the scene piqued Xiaomei's curiosity, but the detective said it was just a fake prop because the window position was wrong and the door lock couldn't be opened. Hastily ending the so-called investigation, the detective got straight to the point and invited Xiaomei for a drink. Xiaomei had never seen such an unprofessional officer before, so she immediately declined the invitation, but she was somewhat tempted and left her phone number before leaving. Seeing Xiaomei leave shyly, the inspector was so happy he could almost fly. But when he turned his head, he suddenly noticed many angel statues appearing around the phone booth as if they were about to go inside. This made the inspector feel very strange, so he stared at one of them closely. As a result, he just blinked and was transported to an unfamiliar place. Before he could gather his thoughts, the doctor and his assistant arrived by his side, informing him that the weeping angel had brought him to 1969. They were also victims, as they were touched by the same angel, so they were all transported to the same year. Then the doctor explained the origin of the weeping angels, who are the most bizarre assassins in the universe, They can silently send people to the past, causing the real you to die instantly or reach the end of your life, and the stolen time becomes the best food for the weeping angels. The doctor could have sent the inspector back, but unfortunately, the TARDIS was stolen by the angels. He could only ask the inspector to deliver a message to Amy, hoping it would help him out of the predicament. At this moment, Amy had just taken a few steps out of the police station when she suddenly felt the key in her pocket. Could this be the way to open the phone booth? She hurried back to the underground garage, only to find that in just a short while, both the inspector and the phone booth had disappeared. Immediately, Xiaomei's phone rang. It was the inspector calling from the Serenity ward. When Xiaomei reached the hospital, she discovered that the inspector, who was full of life just half an hour ago, had now become a dying old man. This made Xiaomei realize that what happened to her best friend also happened to the inspector. Seeing Xiaomei again, the inspector seemed very happy. He said that after going back to the past, he didn't become a police officer, but became a CD distributor. Xiaomei suddenly realized that she was the one who added the Easter eggs to those 17 CDs. The inspector said it was the doctor's request. As for the purpose of the video, it is up to Xiaomei to discover, because after meeting Xiaomei, my own life will also come to an end. After accompanying the inspector on his final journey, Xiaomei resolved to uncover the secret hidden in the video. She called her best friend's brother, asking him to bring a DVD player to the castle to meet her. This time, Xiaomei was finally certain that the doctor inside could indeed interact with her, but the video was clearly recorded 40 years ago. Xiaoqiang thought it was just a coincidence. He took out the script he had copied earlier to prove that the doctor always said it this way, and just as he finished speaking, the doctor in the video continued his words. It seems like he can really hear them, which is amazing. Xiaoqiang quickly grabbed the script to jot down the conversation, but the next second, the doctor revealed the truth. It turned out he couldn't actually hear them. During a time travel, he accidentally obtained Xiaoqiang's script, which is how he knew what Xiaomei was going to say next, enabling their cross-time communication. However, what the doctor truly wanted to convey was that his TARDIS was taken by the Weeping Angels, the very statues that Xiaomei had seen before. The doctor said they are the oldest beings in the universe, having evolved a perfect defense system over the long ages. When observed, they turn into indestructible stone.
And you can't kill a stone. Of course, a stone can't kill you either, but then you turn your head away, then you blink, and oh yes, it can.
However, this skill also became their greatest weakness, which is that they can never be seen by their own kind. Next, the doctor asked Xiaomei to help him retrieve the TARDIS, as it would be the last hope to eliminate the Weeping Angels. Xiaomei wanted to ask what she should do, but the doctor said the script in the notebook ended there. He guessed that the Weeping Angels had already found Xiaomei, and the only thing he could do now was leave a warning.
Don't turn your back, don't look away, and don't blink.
The doctor's warning made Xiaomei and Xiaoqiang's hearts race, but it was too late to realize the danger. When they looked around, they found the terrifying angel had already arrived beside them. Fortunately, there was only one, and the two of them could handle it by staring at it together. However, Xiaomei remembered that there were a total of 4 weeping angels, so she told Xiaoqiang to keep an eye on the one in front of them, while she went to check on the other 3. Unexpectedly, the door had already been locked by the Weeping Angels. The shouting made Xiaoqiang unable to resist turning his head, and in the next second, a Weeping Angel teleported right in front of him, scaring Xiaoqiang into a cold sweat. He could only try to keep his eyes wide open, not daring to blink at all. Fortunately, just when they were about to give in, Xiaomei discovered a basement that seemed like a temporary hiding place. So Xiaoqiang kept his eyes on the angel while retreating, then took advantage of a moment of inattention to reposition himself and hurriedly ran into the basement. It was only then that they discovered the other 3 angels, and the TARDIS were inside. Before they could catch their breath, the angel from before had followed them. With no way out, Xiaomei took out a key, planning to take a risk and try it. But then they discovered something terrifying. The angels were trying to extinguish the light bulb above them. Once the light source disappeared, they could move freely. Anxious, Xiaomei hurried, but the more nervous she got, the more mistakes she made, and the key just wouldn't fit into the keyhole. As the light flickered, the 4 angels kept closing in. Just as they were about to touch the 2, Xiaomei opened the TARDIS, saving their lives. Upon entering, they discovered that the seemingly ordinary TARDIS had an astonishingly large interior space. Just as the 2 were marveling, the doctor's hologram appeared, telling them to insert the disc into the TARDIS for verification. Unexpectedly, just as Xiaomei found the slot, the angel outside started shaking the TARDIS wildly, trying to force its way in. In a panic, Xiaoqiang quickly inserted the disc, and the next second, the TARDIS began to activate. Seeing everything around them gradually fade, Xiaomei was horrified to realize that the TARDIS would leave them behind. Returned alone to the doctor's side, seeing the weeping angels becoming clearer, the 2 were extremely desperate and could only hold each other and loudly call for the doctor. But unfortunately, it was of no use. The next second, the TARDIS completely disappeared, but the 2 surrounded by the weeping angels did not lose their lives as expected. It turned out the weeping angels fell for the doctor's trick. At the moment the TARDIS disappeared, they accidentally saw each other and thus became truly real. After surviving this disaster, Xiaomei joined Xiaoqiang's audio store, and together they began researching the Weeping Angels. 1 year later, one day, he suddenly saw the doctor's figure outside the window and hurried out to express his gratitude, only to find that the doctor did not recognize him at all. Connecting the dots that the other person is a time traveler, Xiaomei instantly understood that for the doctor in front of him, the angel incident hadn't happened yet. In other words, it was Xiaomei's turn to play a role. He handed the angel information and script to the doctor, reminding him that one day in the future he would be trapped in a year, and these materials would help him get through the difficulty. This time, it was the doctor's turn to be confused, but being knowledgeable, he still accepted the gift and specifically asked for Xiaomei's name.
What was your name? Sally Sparrow. Good to meet you, Sally Sparrow.
At this point, the entire story forms a perfect loop. I have to say, this episode of Doctor Who is truly amazing.